Ladies and gentlemen, PC and console captains alike, my name is Phoenix and welcome to the channel. And today I'm going to be talking about a build, more specifically a budget tank build. Okay, so starting off with the budget tank build here, the first thing I started off with is the Assault Cruiser. This is not the C-Store version, this is just the one that you get when you reach level 40 or Vice Admiral. As you can see here, the base hull is 39,000. Please do not look at the aesthetics of this ship and think I'm using any C-Store version. This is just what I'm going with. So also there's no mastery or anything of the nature, so that will not be in effect in any sort of way how this ship is going to perform. We're going to basically base this off of the gear that you can obtain throughout the game. Nothing here is unobtainable. Everything here is pretty much unattainable except for one, and that is the Temporal Negotiator, which is part of the Delta Recruit, if you were able to get in during that time. With that out of the way, for weapons, I have gone with the Piezo-Polaron beam arrays. This one is the advanced. That one you get through the Lucari reputation. And the reason why I went with the Piezo-Polaron, thanks to Counter YOLO and some of his videos, I see that this one can regenerate a portion of your hull and shields. So that's one reason why I went with that, because this is perfect for a tank build. I believe some of the elite phasers or disruptor, depending on which faction that you are in, do come with some sort of hull regeneration or shield regeneration. I don't think it's as good as this one, but they do provide some of that benefit. So if you're going with a phaser build or a disruptor build, depending on whether you're Federation or Klingon Defense Force, there you go. So the Piezo-Polaron beam arrays cost me about 20,000 dilithium each. So I have 3 of them, so which would cost me about 60,000 dilithium to purchase, and you can buy them in the reputation store of Lucari and beam array. So this is, I believe this is the one I got, critical damage. So they're about 20,000. Continuing on, the deflector, impulse, and shields is the Kabali set from the Delta story arc, and it is the last mission, Dust to Dust. So you can run that 3 times and get all 3 pieces here. The warp core is the Elite Fleet Isolated Protomatter warp core. This is from the colony, the Fleet Colony store, so you can purchase that. Sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. The advanced Piezo-Photon torpedo, again, is through the Lucari reputation that you can get through that as well. Then I have the advanced inhibiting Polaron directional beam array, and this is from the Gamma reputation. The kinetic cutting beam, which is through the Omega reputation, and then an omni-directional Polaron beam, which I crafted myself. So most people that get to level 15 in beams should be able to craft a 360-degree beam array. As mentioned before, the Temporal Negotiator, which some people may not have, you can switch that out for whatever you want. I mean, it is a device, so you can get a device that helps with shields or armor, hull plating or whatever. The red matter capacitor is obtainable through the Phoenix prize boxes. If you get a rare token, you should be able to purchase the red matter capacitor. Next up is Subspace Field Modulator, which I'm not sure. I know it was from a story mission, but I can't remember which one. And I think they may even taken that out due to the restructuring of the story missions. I don't know. And then I have the Beacon of Kalos, which you can switch out for Pirates of Nimbus or Delta Reinforcements or something like that. So you can do that. For engineering consoles, I have the Conductive RCS Accelerator, which I crafted myself. Again, I believe this is something that most people, once you reach level 15 in engineering, you should be able to craft this item. If not, you could probably buy it off the exchange. Then we have the sustained field, radiant field from the Iconian reputation, which gives me plus 23.8% bonus to outgoing hull heals, and plus 11.9% all weapon damage, and again plus 23.8% to bonus shield hulls. Most people, if you're looking at DPS, saying you've heard of Cat 1 and Cat 2 damage, well, this one would be considered a Cat 2 heal, so you get a bonus to your heals. Then I have the Ordnance Accelerator, which is through the Gamma reputation, which gives you minus 1.5 seconds to shared mine recharge time. Now, that doesn't really affect me at any point. Plus 20% mine recharge speed, again, doesn't affect me. However, the plus 23.8% projectile weapon damage and the 23.8 Polaron damage does help me. There's also phaser, so if you went with a phaser build, you could potentially use this as well. I have the Piezo-Electric Focuser from the Lucari reputation, which gives me plus 35.6 plasma and Polaron damage. Again, plasma doesn't really help me, but the Polaron does. You also get plus 15% flight turn rate and plus 17.8 maximum shield capacity. For science consoles, I have Exotic Particle Field Exciter, which again is another craftable item, or you can purchase it on the exchange. What this does gives me plus 35.6 Starship Exotic Particle Generator, or EPG, plus 23.8 maximum shield capacity. When shields are healed, supplies Field Exciter for 15 seconds and gives you 10 weapon power, and effects can occur every 30 seconds. And finally, we have the assimilated module from the Omega reputation. What this does gives me plus 1.1% critical chance, plus 10.9% critical severity, plus 5 weapon power, plus 6 starship damage control, plus 27.2 starship control expertise. For tactical consoles, I have the 0-point energy conduit from the Romulan reputation, which gives me plus 2.3 power to all subsystems, plus 24.6 starship drain expertise, and plus 2.3% critical chance. I also have 2 vulnerability locators for Polaron, which gives me plus 37.5% Polaron damage and 1.9% critical chance. Now let's look at some of these set pieces that I have here, because they come with set piece bonuses. So for the Lucari one, because I have the beam array, I have the focuser and the torpedo. So the 2-piece will give me plus 15% plasma and Polaron weapon damage. Again, plasma doesn't really affect me. The Polaron does. The plus 15% photon projectile weapon damage is always good. Plus 20 starship drain expertise. Protomatter infused torpedo is a 3-piece set. So if your high yield advanced Piezo-Photon torpedoes are shot down before reaching the target, they will spawn a restorative protomatter field that grants ally players a hull and shield regeneration boost flying into it, and it will give them plus 15 starship hull restoration and shield restoration. For the Cabali set, for the 2-piece, you get Cabali reactive hull regenerative, so plus 60% hull restoration, or regeneration, I'm sorry. For the 3-piece, you get the Cabali nanite screen when receiving damage while at 25% or less hull, 15,000 temporary hull hit points for 15 seconds. So for the 4-piece, I didn't put the warp core due to the fact that maybe not everyone will have access to the Samsar starship that you got in the anniversary during Delta Rising. I can't remember. But anyways, With the 4-piece set, you get reactive nanite screen, affects friends and self, 20 max, 5 kilometer sphere, 2-minute recharge. You and nearby allies for 15 seconds gain 20% of incoming energy damage as healing, max 20 times per second, always heals between 100 and 20,000. So this would be really good. If you had all 4 pieces like I do, this would probably be awesome as a tank build, because not only are you just healing yourself, you're healing other people as well. So for the advanced inhibiting Polaron with the ordnance accelerator, I get the 2-piece. So what it does is task force tunings plus 10% chronoton weapon damage. That really doesn't affect us. 10% phaser weapon damage, again, doesn't affect us. But the 10% Polaron damage does, and the 10% flight turn rate is also beneficial. If I had the chronoton projectile weapon, upgrading your next attack from an advanced gamma chronoton weapon within 30 seconds spawns a field of 9 mines that last for 90 seconds. Chase range is 3.5 kilometers. Mines respawn 5 seconds after detonating. Mines deal 957 kinetic damage, 20% shield penetration. Explode significantly reduced flight speed and turn rate for 11.8 seconds. So that's not too bad if you decide to go with the chronoton weapon instead of the photon weapon. And lastly, I believe we have the Omega. For the kinetic cutting beam and the assimilated module, we get the 2-piece Omega weapon amplifier. So 2.5% chance when firing energy weapons to gain Omega weapon amplifier for 5 seconds, plus 10% weapon power, plus 500 weapon power drain resistance, minus 500% weapon power cost. And if I had the 3-piece set with the plasma torpedo launcher, reactive deflection, 1% chance when hit to set hull resistance approximately 75% for 2 seconds. This cannot occur more than frequently than 30 seconds. Okay, so this is my skills, how I've set them. A lot in hull restoration, hull capacity, shield restoration, shield capacity and hardness and all that, damage control, hull plating, defensive systems, that sort of stuff, with a little bit to help with some damage, hull penetration, and shield penetration, just because you don't want to be completely useless, because even though you are a tank, you need to be doing at least some damage. So I think the way I have done it, it works, but I'm pretty sure I could probably improve on this. The next thing I don't really always go over in my videos when I'm talking about a new ship that's come out is the specializations. For this one, I went with Command Officer. Now, I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm gonna tell you to take whatever I say about this with a grain of salt, because I'm not 100% sure how this all works. I'm just looking at this quickly. Is exposed to targets, shield drain, increase armor penetration. So this will help, I guess, with damaging a lot of the enemies and getting through some of their shields. Here's you got some that defense rating, restoration, healing. So critical hits. I don't really know much about all the specializations. The other one I have is Miracle Worker, which I believe does activating a hull heal gives me plus 2% critical chance, while affected by subsystem drain, it removes those drains. So if you're affected by something, you're gonna get healed, or you're gonna get massive benefits out of it. Again, I'm not really well versed when it comes to specializations, so please take this with a grain of salt. I'm pretty sure I could probably do other specializations that would probably be better for this build, but I'm going with what I have at the moment. Moving on to traits. So for my personal space traits, I have imposing presence, gives me plus 77.5% outgoing hull healing and plus 25% threat generation. We'll probably be doing a bit of threat generating so that we're taking more of the brunt of the firepower, whereas the DPSers, they're able to go in and waste everything and kill them all while you are just taking the pounding. So then we have Molecular Defense Specialist, which gives me plus 10 to Phaser, Disruptor, and Plasma Damage Resistance rating. We have Elusive, which gives me a plus 10% defense rating. Particle Defense Specialist gives me plus 10 Tetryon, Polaron, and Anti-Proton damage resistance rating. Grace Under Fire, which if you take more than 20% of your hit points in damage within 5-second period, the cooldown on Miraculous Repairs is reset. The trait only activates will only activate within the first 2 minutes of activating Miraculous Repairs and can only trigger once every 90 seconds. So Grace Under Fire has saved a lot of us tank build players for quite some time, because sometimes you take so much damage that you need to repair really quickly, and sometimes you take it so much that you need it twice, so Grace Under Fire does help. Next I have Shield Technician, which gives me plus 10% maximum shield capacity. I have Impact Defense Specialist, which gives me plus 10 to physical and kinetic damage resistance rating. I have Techie, which gives me plus 20 Starship Hull Restoration and Damage Control. And finally, we have Shield Frequency Analyst, 15% outgoing shield healing. Now this is probably one where maybe another one of those things where you probably won't be able to have added to your budget build, but if you do happen to have some of these ships, like the T6C starships, you can add some of these starship traits. Some that would recommend is History Will Remember. For each foe that damages you, gain 1 stack of History Will Remember, 30 stacks max, which grants the following until you leave the map: plus 1% all damage, 1% hull regen, maximum hull by 1%, 10% threat generation only while threatening stance is active. So if you are threatening, you'll gain an extra 10%. Next one is Adaptive Hull Plating. It enhances specific powers to self 3% maximum hull hit points. Next is Reactive Reconstruction. When you drop below 50% health, to self 50% bonus hull healing for 20 seconds, so another Cat 2 hull healing. To self and allies within 4 kilometers plus 58,280.3 hit points can occur once per 120 seconds. The next one is Honor Dead. So after receiving 10,000 cumulative damage, gain a stack of Honor Dead, which adds plus 10 all damage resistance rating and plus 1% health regeneration, max 20 stacks. Infinite duration. While at 20 stacks subsequent activation, instead grant 10,000 temporary hit points for 40 seconds. While not in combat, lose 1 stack of Honor Dead every 2 seconds unless cloaked. Now, unfortunately, that one won't really work for me in this build, but that's okay. Next up is Space Reputation. So every time you succeed in completing a tier in the reputation system, you either get a ground reputation ability or a space reputation ability. So this one from the, I believe, Dyson Sphere one is Energy Refrequencer. Receive 9.8% of your outgoing damage as hull healing to you. Triggers up to 5 times per second. Capped at 393.8 base hulling per trigger. Next up is the magnified firepower from the Gamma reputation, plus 5% bonus weapon damage. That's to help with a little bit of damage. Next is Strengthening Shield, again from Gamma reputation, 10% shield resistance. And the next one is Automated Protomatter Conduits, which is from the Lucari reputation. When critically hit, gain plus 440.6 shield regeneration every 1 second for 15 seconds, and 100% hull regeneration for 15 seconds. can trigger once every 30 seconds. Next is active reputation, which I have the anti-time entanglement singularity. Creates a level 66 anti-time entanglement singularity for 12 seconds, 932.1 physical damage, 100% shield penetration. Each second radius starts at 4 kilometers and continually shrinks. Minus 75% flight speed and turn rate within the singularity. 25% chance to hold target for 1.2 seconds. And 12.5% chance hold target for 1.2 seconds versus player. Only occurs in certain circumstances, apparently. Another good one is the biomolecular shield generator, which creates a biomolecular shield generator for 30 seconds. The following applies to allies in a 2.5 kilometer radius. A 1,222.8 shield regeneration a second and 22% shield resistance. Next one is deploy sensor interference platform. This is good as sort of like a decoy, so you can do a little bit of healing and then you can just go out and pummel everything while this is taking the damage. Creates a sensor interference platform for 45 seconds. Platform gains 14,687.5 bonus hull per ally within 10 kilometers, maximum 5. Sensor interference platform taunts NPCs within 10 kilometers for 3 seconds. After 3 seconds, when an ally is damaged within 10 kilometers of platform, attacker suffers minus 75% of all outgoing damage for 3 seconds. Only occurs only occurs in certain circumstances and only affects certain things. I don't see a double asterisk there, so I think we're okay. And this one is Force Challenge. This is from the competitive. Faces the target towards the user, pulls target within 0.5 kilometers of user, minus 1,293.3 to target forward shield facing. Target is untargetable by Force Challenge for 45 seconds. So this is good. So if you see that one of your DPSers is taking a bit of a pounding and you don't have a lot of threat, then you can grab this person, you can grab that NPC with this ability, and you can pull them towards you and say, no, I'm gonna take on your damage, and you fire at me, not at buddy here. So that's what that one is really good for. Moving on to stations. So my Ensign Tactical, I have High Yield 1 for the 3-piece Piezo set. So if this gets damaged while being fired, then if anyone flies through and they end up getting a heal out of it. So that's what that's for. For my Lieutenant Tactical, I have Chemo Lace Weaponry 1 and Fire at Will 2. For my Lieutenant Science, I have Tachyon Beam 1, which is going to reduce shields with each pulse, so drain the shields much quicker, so you can get more shots onto the hull. And Science Team 2 for shield repair. For my Lieutenant Commander Engineering, I have Emergency Power to Engines 1, so if I need to get somewhere a little more quicker, that's what this is going to do. It's going to kick in and help me there. I have Auxiliary Power to the Inertial Dampeners, which again is another. It gives me a physical and kinetic resistance rating, and gives me flight speed and turn rate, immunity to disable and repel. And then I have Directory Energy Modulation 2, which gives me 7.5% energy shield penetration for 30 seconds. And for my Commander Engineering, I have Emergency Power to Shields 1 for shield repair, Engineering Team for hull repair, Emergency Power to Weapons 3, so get off a little more firepower oomph there. And then I have Reverse Shield Polarity 3, and so if I have one facing shield that is completely down and I'm still taking fire, I activate this and it should repair my shield right back to full. So just one little tidbit for my power levels, I have 82 over 70 for weapons, 115 over 100 for shields. For my speed, I have 30 over 15, and for auxiliary, I have 40 over 15.
Alright, so we are now in here. Looks like some people have taken upon themselves to... So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do attract fire and threatening stance 3. There we go. So that I'm taking some of the brunt of the fire. And yes, I am using a lot of the heals, but that's okay. That's what we are designed to do, is to take a lot of the firepower away from those that can actually DPS. So now we are a little bit on the slow side. That's okay. Now, I don't know if we're going to be able to get this. Looks like we're pounding on it, but we got some, you know, that generator still up. And we do have, oh, we got someone over there who is keeping these guys busy, so that's good. Now this is an actual pug group. This is not like a pre-made group or anything like that. This is a pug group, so I don't know anyone in here. Or at least I don't think I do. Give myself a bit of a shield all there. Alright, gate or the transformer's down, so now we can start letting loose on these Borg sphere. So I don't know, still taking threatening stance here. Hopefully I'm taking a lot of the aggro. Yeah, we're being good, and we're actually taking care of the spheres, so we don't have to worry about them after. I know some groups they'll just finish off the transformer here, move over to the other side, and then deal with the spheres after they get all both sides down. In this case, not happening, and then that's okay. Alright, so it looks like we are doing pretty good here. Alright, there we go. Alright, I'm going to use evasive maneuvers, so hopefully I can get over just a little bit quickly. Now, I don't know if those are healing ones. Oh, crap. I'm having trouble getting over because now I'm just being fired upon because I'm taking so much of the aggro. And you know what? That's okay. That's totally fine because that's what we're designed to do. We could use a little bit of engine capacity. Oh, yeah, I'm taking so much damage. From these guys. Yeah, we failed the optional because these guys spawned in just as we were finishing off over here. So, and you know what? That's okay. We can deal with an optional not being done. I mean, the point is not with the tank build. You want to try and help your fellow players as much as possible, but meanwhile trying to maintain your role of being a tank. I mean, if this was a pre-made group, this would probably be a whole lot easier. Yeah, I just need a little bit of a evasive maneuver so I don't have to worry about being stuck, because tractor beams suck. Someone no one's gravity weld. You know what? I don't see. I forgot to set up my tray so I could have my tag element and my sensor or my tractor beam that pulls people in. Totally forgot about that. Okay, that's all right though. You know what? We're doing fine just as is. Oh, look at that. We got rid of all those Bork spheres, even though we lost the optional. That's not the end of the world. I think it needs to be made very, very clear that if you don't get the optional, it's not the end of the world. It just means you won't get like an extra 5 marks or something like that. So it's not that big of a deal if you don't get it. So even though there's not many enemies around here, the gateway here does like to one-shot kill people. So it's still important that you keep aggroing and tanking here, so that other people can wail on this thing and not be bothered and being targeted and being destroyed. Fortunately, we did lose one person. That is a shame, because I don't know if that person is tanking as well. I would be surprised if they were tanking, or their aggro just outmatched my aggro. Who knows? Alright, now. Oh, that's why I wasn't moving. I was caught in with the debris there. Alright, or debris. Oh, man. So here we go. Taking on the tactical cube. Hopefully aggroing so much that I should be aggroing. Yeah, it looks like he's after me, so that's okay. He drained my shields there. Apparently even that does not get me out of his grasp. With that tractor beam will hold you and not let you go, unfortunately. But that's okay, because that's why we have reverse shield polarity, because it helps with shields, and one side's being totally demolished, it will get it back up. There we go. Ooh, and look at that. We took huge hit. The last 2 hits there took so much that normally if you're a DPSer, you would have probably been killed in that blast. In both those blasts, I should add. Okay, so there you have it, a budget tank build. Like I said, majority of the stuff that I have on here is obtainable. There's no use for paying for things except for the Starship Trait Mastery, which is a sort of a gray area. But what I'm specifically trying to show you guys is that any sort of tank build or any sort of build can be done on a budget, and you can do fairly well with it. Now, one thing I will mention is I went with the Piezo-Polaron, and it was a big change for me because I am a huge fan of anti-proton. I love it. Don't ask me why, I just do. But it shouldn't matter what energy weapon type that you go with. You can still do the exact same kind of tanking. The Piezo-Polaron does help with the tank build, but you aren't limited to just that type. It's just one of the better types for tanking. And that concludes today's video, and as always, I love to hear from you. Please comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, live long and prosper, and we'll see you out there.